What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I have a treat for you. I'm going to be showing you a brand new color from Vvivid Colorfusion. So this is the cosmetic paint protection film. The color is called Stealth Cosmic Blue. Passenger side of the car is done. Stay tuned for the full walk around video of this car. Hopefully inside, well, definitely inside. Hopefully outside with some good weather, maybe some sun would be nice. So that will be posted at the end of this series. I'm also going to try and get another video done of doing the fender on the driver's side so you guys can see how that is done as well. I'm going to be doing this as a dry installation. However, the material can be installed wet or dry. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you choose. Sometimes on a large flat panel like this, you're going to want to choose a wet installation. I'm going to be doing a dry installation today, and I'll explain why in a second. Well, I'll explain it right now. It's because this car has a full clear PPF over top of it already. So let's get the camera in to show you some of the imperfections that are already there due to the PPF that is already on the vehicle. Okay guys, so let's go over this, but also don't forget my website, ckwraps.com. The link's in the top corner and the description below. As always, open forum discussion board, first month free. You can ask me any questions, post your pictures. I answer them all the time. And again, something more easygoing. I have a couple hundred videos uploaded to the members only YouTube section. So the link is also there in the description. Let's get into the exterior side of this panel here. And I noticed a few things. So right here, it's a pretty nasty one. Right tip of my finger, trying to get the light on that. Hopefully that shows up. It's really tricky with the camera and the lighting to know if it's getting it or not. Okay, that's dark. I can see it's like a stone or debris. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, there's other ones definitely back here, but I'm not sure if this side can see it. Yeah, maybe. I definitely saw it from the other side of the hood. Yeah, right here. Okay, another one right there. And the underside's even worse. There's another one right here. You can see when the light goes over it. That little stone is right, it's right there. Okay, another something, actually that might be exterior. What the heck? It's dirt, I wiped that, it's weird. So I'm gonna try and get that off, unless it's under. No, and that might just be a stone chip. Okay, so you can see that. Another one right here. Right there, top of my finger. I don't know how well the camera will pick that up. Another one right here. Dark spot. Try and get the light over it. That usually helps. And then from this angle here, I can see, like, again, right about there. I don't know where it's showing in the camera, but somewhere there. So that's just the exterior side. Let's see the underside. Okay, so the underside, a little bit worse, but whatever, it's not seen. So there's that. I'm gonna be wrapping over some of this, but not all of this, because I cut actually further back from the edge than this. So they've wrapped around about 1/4 inch. I'm gonna leave less material. So it's gonna affect, this will actually affect, sorry about the light. This will affect the appearance of my wrap. This will, could I go in there and trim all this off? Yeah, but I don't wanna get in there and start trimming away stuff on the customer's car unless it's really going to cause an issue. This corner is really good. They cut this one back a lot further though. So as you can see the line right there, it's like there's my thumbnail. Another one there. Okay, so this is technically a problem with corners with clear PPF. We're gonna be using color PPF, which is slightly thinner. Some damage here, stone chip. You can see that? That's a stone chip. So different angles, and it's good to document this kind of stuff, like, you know, before you wrap over it. And you don't have to show it to the customer unless they ask, you know, like, what's that under the wrap, whatever. Here, I took a video, I took some pictures, this is that, this is this, and then they can actually see that. So good to document that. Back corners definitely have some bunching up as well, not much, so I can feel it just very slightly, so not that bad. The back corners turned out better than the front ones, but just to let you know that that stuff is there, and we will be wrapping over some of that. So what are some of the challenges when it comes to wrapping film over paint protection film? First of all, on the passenger side, I struggled with the door handle cup area, and on the BMW M3, or this 3 Series of BMW, they are pretty recessed. So I had to apply a very generous amount of heat, but I gradually built that up. I didn't just go there and blast it with a lot of hot heat, dry heat, because that will burn the film. Gradually, and eventually I got it down. Now, because of the hydrophobic properties of clear PPF, this is probably pretty good PPF from what I can tell. There's 0 scratches in it. The installation could have been a little bit better or whatever, but it's still done pretty well. Most of it is not templated. Most of it is actually bulk installation. So meaning they wrapped around almost all the edges and almost all the corners, except for some at the back. But as far as the corners go and the edges, back doesn't hit a lot of stuff. Anyways, we have adhesion problems when it comes to wrapping over clear PPF a lot of times. And this car's like a year old, so the PPF's still pretty fresh. You might see me struggle in an area like these recesses right here, where I won't really struggle. You'll see the material struggle to stay put in that area. When it happens, and if it happens, I will let you know, and I'll point that out. I'll bring the camera in so you guys can see all this stuff. I have my piece already cut. I've prepped the surface already and the underside edges with 70% isopropyl alcohol. I have blown off the surface with compressed air, but I'm going to do that one more time because there has been some downtime since I've done that and set the camera up and so forth. So let's do that first, and then we're going to bring our piece over. I'll turn the volume down for this. Perfect, that's good enough. Now, some of the advantages to wrapping over clear PPF, there is an advantage actually, is that it lowers the adhesion, so it actually is going to make it much easier to squeegee the air out of this type of material. And since it is a hybrid type of material, meaning the air channels are much tighter, air doesn't generally squeegee out very well when you're going full dry install on a large flat panel like this. There is some structure to this, but there isn't a lot. It's very flat all the way through this section right here, as you can see. And this section from here back basically and all the way across is where you're going to end up with the most trapped air. Let's get the piece over to the hood. I cut this piece quite a bit longer. It's cut it at 74 inches. It's only needed maybe like 67 or something like that. Now, surprisingly, also a lot of this car is steel, but the front end is not. So the hood, the fenders, bumper obviously are not steel, so I won't be able to utilize magnets. And what you'll also notice is that I've elevated the hood on a cardboard box. That's just gonna keep it more flat, kind of like a table. It makes it a little bit easier actually. It's more so when you're doing a dry installation. I would probably prefer to have it down if I was doing a wet installation. And again, you can pick and choose what you would like to do in this situation. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this over, have about 3 inches on this side, make sure I have enough at the top. I'm gonna check the other side. You can see the front end, don't have a lot, but definitely more than the Audi RS5, because that was a pain. Bring that up a bit. Okay, so we're just past about a ½ inch past the top corner there. Again, let's check the front. We're good, we're good, we're good. One thing I didn't check was how much extra material I had on that side, so let's check that out. I probably have quite a bit more. Yep, I'm gonna slide the material over just slightly this way. And again, if you guys like the videos, don't forget to subscribe. Turn on notifications so you can see more. Okay, so that's good enough. I'm gonna take my corner here, peel it up. And I don't have the fender wrapped on the other side, so getting the material to stay put will be easier than last time. What hood did I do? The Range, I guess? It was the Range Rover, where I had the fenders already PPF'd on both sides. So this side will grab a lot better. I mean, even though there is PPF there, it still sticks, this film sticks much better to the gloss PPF than it does to itself. Meaning like if the fenders were already wrapped in the Stealth Cosmic Blue, that this would have more of an issue adhering to that fender on the other side, just like it does on this side, because it's very easy to lift that up. I just stuck that down a second ago, right? Okay, I don't have to trim off any material here, so we're gonna leave it as is. We wanna roll the liner off as nicely as possible to prevent bruising, but if we get bruising, we know that it can heat out. And it's a large sheet, so it's gonna take some patience to get the liner off. I want to keep it flat. Let's see if I can get it going like this. As long as it stays anchored to the fender. There we go. It's resting on the window, that's fine. There we go, let's try and keep that flat. There we go. Just making sure, yeah, audio's all good. Check the camera every once in a while. Haven't lost a video in a while, which is good. Just keep checking. All right. What I also noticed is that it helps a little bit to keep, if you can, to keep your work environment a little bit cooler, because it lowers the initial tack by quite a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to lift this corner up as I approach with the liner. Straighten that out because I don't want it to crease. Just tack that to the window. There we go. And this is not a rush. Take your time with this part. I see a lot of people struggle with it, so just wanted to make sure you take your time. Okay, so I thought I saw dirt there. It's nothing, it was just a bubble. It's a mess. We're gonna flatten this out. Now, what I can do now is trim away the window section here so it's not resting so much on the window, which creates that pocket in the center, and we don't want that pocket in the center. It's a distraction and it makes the film install funny. So we remove this section right here so the material is not sitting on the glass. Make sure you leave yourself a decent amount so this way, you know, you can maneuver the material around if you need to. So because this side has no satin wrap on it or no stealth wrap on it, we're gonna lift up this side first, get it situated. And you can see how nicely that lifts. So I'm just gonna pull that out nice and tight. Cool. I'm gonna anchor to here if I possibly can and hope it stays so I can do the other side. Okay, let's pop this up. Really see how nice and pliable the material is. I do have to fix up that corner, but that's okay. We're just initially getting this laid out. The more time you take to do this area in the middle will begin to settle. So this is why a lot of times I recommend doing a wet install on the hood, because the longer you take, the adhesive will settle, and that's going to cause you to get a lot of air bubbles trapped. Obviously, that's a huge pain. So because I have PPF on here already, the air bubbles are going to come out much easier. But like I said, it might be challenging in those recesses there. Let's do the same on this side. Quick pop up, there we go. Okay, tack that to the fender. And since I'm over here, now I may need to relift this and reposition and so forth, but since I'm over here, I'm gonna take this, tack it to the light. I'm gonna fix up back here. What we have to be mindful of with these finishes is, and this is actually a super critical point, is we don't wanna stretch on stretch because it'll discolor the finish. At least that's okay. The middle's still good. We're gonna take a spot and squeegee, okay? Now, what I want to do is open up the end. There we go. So I'm going to find that body line, which is what, right here. Okay, so there's a recess between here and here, here and here. This is the high point, low point, low point, okay? So we want to leave that sort of as it is. High point is all high point right here. Oops. Okay, so try not to do that. It's okay. Go back that way. And try not to pull the material too tight as you're squeegeeing, okay? And remember, we don't want to stretch on stretch. So I'm going to work the back section here, and then I'm going to come to the front. I'll have to lift the material up, I know that. Pop the back up here. I'll bring the camera in actually so you guys can see better because you're probably not able to see much from where you are right now. So let's get that zoomed in so I don't have to digital zoom. And get it centered up somewhere there. Cool, so you can see most of the squeegeeing now. A lot of air trapped in here still, it's okay. I'm not worried about it. I'm just getting out the large flat sections, okay? I'm working this air pocket down this way. You can hear and sort of and see the bubbles just sort of glide through, right? That's because that has the PPF already on the surface. What you can do is if you don't have PPF already there and you want to do a dry install, just use tack reducer, okay? Tack reducer works wonderful. Trap myself with a bubble there, I thought I did. Okay, and be thorough. If you want to be extra thorough, what you can do is you can spray a little water or whatever, some detail spray that's meant for a matte finish on the surface, and you can see where you've already squeegeed, okay? So we're gonna go up now with this stuff. So this is a tricky color to actually see the air in. So I'm not sure where I've squeegeed so far, so we're gonna overlap our passes. ensuring that we're getting as much coverage as possible. I'm going to open up the back without stretching the material. And when I go to reposition the front, like reposition it meaning like get these air pockets out, because you can see them, right? Then those are a little too big to squeegee. We don't want to squeegee those ones. Same with those ones there. Because what can happen is we could bind the material, crease it, and then all of a sudden, oops, I have a crease in it. And then we're going to have to heat that out, which is just time consuming in the end. Don't want to just try to prevent that kind of stuff from happening. Okay, so I'm just going to match the stretch that I already have. So I'm going to pop that up. And all I'm doing is sort of just releasing it so I can let the air out, sort of match that stretch again. Cool. And then that will, as long as I work fast enough, allow me to squeegee the air out to a point. Okay, so can go all the way. We'll do it again. Now this is, if you're doing like a gloss finish, this is where you start getting like lift lines and glue lines. So the matte finish, are they there? Yeah, they're there. You just can't see them. So how do you know they're there, right? So I know they're there, but you just can't see them. Okay, so we're gonna leave this little pocket here, and we're not gonna squeegee the very front yet because I will have to let the air out. There's no vent here, right? So I will have to let the air out of that section. Again, we're working on the high points first, getting the air out of these sections here, where the material's resting the most. That's the most critical part to work on initially. Cool, so again, match the stretch. And then always approaching at an angle. Okay, so that bubble's sort of trapped there. Again, we're gonna lift again. I am getting some bruising. It's okay, that all will go away. So I want you to not stress when you get, and the bruising you can see it's white, right? Like you can probably see that right where I am. And I showed that in an Instagram video. Okay, so again, we're gonna leave more or less the front end. And you see, I don't have to like pull or stretch hard to get the rest of it finished off. What we're gonna do here though is we're gonna leave the front end here and here, but we're gonna get the middle section done right here. So we're gonna go here. Cool. I'm gonna take my glove, pop that on, because my squeegee probably won't form very well in there, and get my hand in there. And then there's that nasty piece of dirt that was under there that we saw in the very beginning. There's another one over there. Cool. So again, look, see here, the material doesn't go down. That's not a huge problem, guys. It's just a very slight problem. So, because you can see it doesn't want to stay down. This is not even as deep of a recess as the door handle cup. So all we have to do is add heat for that to go down. Voila, okay? A little bit more afterwards, but don't heat too much until you have all of it down. I didn't have to push that down right now. I was just showing you. Okay, so again, over here, what we're gonna do is we gotta take care of this side right there. Did I squeegee that? Yeah, just make sure. Okay, didn't squeegee that. Let's squeegee that. Cool. Now we're gonna work, it doesn't matter, we can work the back. We should work the corner here first though, okay? So let's move the camera just a bit more. So a bit more centered for there. There we go. And we can work. So again, the idea here is to match the stretch. How do you know you're matching the stretch? Well, you shouldn't have to heat it really, because heating it can cause a lot of distortion. It can cause you to distort it. Heating itself does not cause the distortion. It's you who would cause the distortion. Okay, this area is the high point. So this has been resting for a long time. What I want to do is I want to pop this up and release it so you can see it sort of sticking. And that's going to allow the air to squeegee out much better. As long as I work the material within a reasonable amount of time. So again, I don't want to wait forever. I want to get in there. Same thing down here. This is all the high point. All this, it's just where the material is sitting the most. Okay, just elevating at the edges here. Okay, I'm gonna let that hang off the edge because there is another little drop down there. And we'll finish that off in a minute. Okay, slight bit of tension, there we go. Excellent. Okay, so we're at the edge. There's one little last edge to do still, but that's okay. Let's open up the back, get this last air bubble out back here. And then this huge pocket is gonna come straight down and all that air is gonna come out of there, okay? So what I wanna do is I just wanna make this nicer so it's a more straight line. Shouldn't even need heat with this. But just make sure you're being really thorough with your push through. And at the very end here, I'm gonna just give it a little bit of tension and control. And voila, go back over it. Make sure you didn't miss anything. And that pocket is done. Again, we'll focus on that in a second. We're gonna do the other corner over here next. Actually, since I'm over here, I'll just finish up this last little drop down here. Super easy. The material's already in a good place. Perfect. Okay, so that's all good. Let's move the camera over to the other side and turn it a bit so I can get you in on a better angle. Maybe come down a bit, like there. Should be good. Oops. That should be good. Okay, maybe a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, so same thing over here. I'm gonna have to release this area, but let's focus on the front corner first. This front corner is a little bit better, was a little bit better set up than the other side. Yeah. It's nice spread. Give the material time to stretch. I'm trying to force it all at once. I can take this area here and I can squeegee it out. Since it is the high point, it will begin to trap air. And this way, I don't have to lift it later. Let's lift up here now. And again, the lifting is just to sort of match the tension that we already have and to reset the adhesive so that we can squeegee out nicely. Okay, so now we're gonna come through here. Okay, same thing here. Let's spread that out though. We got some fingers. Don't want to squeegee over those. Awesome. Okay. Okay, last little bit, and then we have the drop-off edge and the pocket in the middle, or the middle-ish. Okay, so let's get this last little bit at the back. Keep that open. See some air there, so we're gonna push that towards the pocket right here. Okay, and then the same thing is gonna happen again where we're going to, let's just fix up that because I didn't like the way that looked. There we go. So same thing again with the palm of our hand. Get in here and get this recess down. Little bit of tension. Okay. Do I have to post heat this recess? Nope, it's not deep enough. It's pretty shallow. These ones in here, yeah, I'm probably gonna post heat them just because it's got the PPF there. I probably wouldn't need to, but you know, it's never a bad idea. If you think it's going to help and make your wrap last longer, then always go ahead and do something like that. But because again, there is PPF there for this one, I'm definitely gonna post heat it where those sharper recesses are in the middle. Okay, so most of the air is squeegeed out right now. Let's get the camera back into the middle-ish so we can see what's going on with these vents now. Start with whatever one, doesn't matter. I want to open this up though, okay? I need to open this up because this will not let air out. I'm probably gonna add a bit of heat. This might be a little bit challenging, actually. I never even really considered it too much, but simply because trying to get the material in there If it doesn't want to stay, I'll have to add heat also, but then I also have to keep the material elevated. See how it just doesn't want to stick? Just need an air opening here, okay? There we go. Okay, we're gonna get some of this flat section here that we didn't squeegee. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add heat because I'm going to have to. So I'm gonna have to kind of alternate with my hands here in the heat gun. Okay, that's open there right now, that's good. Let's add a bit of heat. Let's go this side, makes more sense. Doesn't actually take much for this. It's not even as deep as I thought or as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And then that little spot there, let the air out. Perfect, okay? Okay, last section here is just what's right in the front here. So I'll let that cool a little bit actually. I can probably, yeah, just leave that for a second. Cool it off, okay. Slight bit of tension, nothing crazy, just to balance it out. Okay. There we go. Perfect, okay. You cannot, so the main difference with this and vinyl wrap is that with vinyl wrap, I could just heat and shrink excess material that's left over. With PPF, you can't. So something to keep in mind. Let's do this side over here. Otherwise, it's easier to get rid of extra material when you are doing a vinyl wrap than it is with a PPF. So you have to sort of plan a bit more in advance with a PPF than with a vinyl wrap. Because vinyl wrap will just, again, let you heat and shrink the excess material. Let's keep that open, a little bit of heat again, just sort of warm, nothing too serious or too crazy. Let's see how it pops up, right? It's getting trapped, there we go. It's just getting trapped, I didn't have the opening. Okay, so I will, again, I'm gonna post-heat those areas. I'm gonna take my glove off for now. I'll put it back on after. And let's go, because I'm right-handed, go this side. Let's balance that out a bit more, there we go. Cool. So, I mean, it might look like I'm pulling the material down hard to the edge. I'm really not at all. Like I'm just being firm but gentle with that. Like it's not, oh, that's some air there, that's okay. So the air release does work really well still. That's only really because the PPF is underneath it. If it had just bare paint, wouldn't have been as easy to get rid of some of those small bubbles. You can use an air release tool, or what you can do is relift the material up and then reset it. Okay, so just going over everything, making sure that we've got no air and stuff at our edges or anywhere in the middle, making sure that this is all good. And then we're gonna start doing some trimming and cutting and rolling around the edges. So first, let's start with the back, since this is what I usually do. Let's get the camera up. Not a whole lot to see back there, it's a pretty straight line. I'm going to trim, so I need to lift the hood up for this. Yeah, because so when I lift the hood up, the back corners will become exposed, which is a lot nicer to then do that section there. That was that stone chip over here, it's all right, okay. So I'm gonna trim some of this away, just because I don't need 3 to 4 inches. Always lift away from the wiper blades so you don't cut them, scratch them. Cool. Still getting audio, yep. All right, let's go back this side. Leaving myself with roughly 1 inch, or maybe a little bit more. Okay, so I didn't want to move the camera, but to show you the back corner, the back edge, let's get the camera into place. I may just cut the seam. Let's lift this up first and see where we're gonna be. Okay, let's move the liner out of the way over here and probably get you over on this side here. Okay guys, so with the hood elevated, it's not fully up, it's just on a slight angle. We're gonna get in there with heat. Lead with the heat gun. I don't want to press too hard because I don't want the hood to fall down. Corner here. So actually, let's trim a lot of this back so I'm not touching the fender. It's going to help. Just leave that there for a second. Okay, so for the corner, all I'm going to do is heat it quite a bit and then get in there and massage that down really nicely. It's like so. Again, you can always test your corners before you cut. by putting your squeegee underneath. So let's go across a bit more over here. I don't have to reach so far on the other side. Oh, oops. Cord got stuck under there. Push that up, that's okay. So again, the way to test your corner is, and just before you cut to see if you like it or not, just take your squeegee, as long as it's a different color, and then just stick it right underneath the corner like this. Okay, and then you'll see if your corner is like nice and round or not. That's about it. Let's go to the other side, roll it, and then we'll cut. And then I can put the hood back into its position once the back section's cut. So I'm going to trim away again here and do the exact same thing I did on that side over there. Let's actually get the camera zoomed in because maybe it'll give you a better point of view to that other side over there. Let's see what we can do here. Let's get it elevated. Let's go in and let's go right. There we go. Look at that. That's pretty good. Cool. So again, I've already gone through here. I'll do one more pass, whatever. Doesn't hurt. Corner, heat it. Touch sort of in the middle first, and like I kind of shimmy it down to the left and the right. As long as there's enough heat, the material will form really nicely around the corner. Be careful when you're heating this much that you don't keep your heat gun there for too long. Okay, when the material's floating like this, like when it's elevated, as you see it is, it doesn't take much for it to get really hot. So, okay, so I'm gonna start trimming from the middle, but I'm gonna leave the camera in its place. And you're gonna see more about how I trim when I get back here. Usually it's best to put the hood back down when you're cutting the back section, but I won't have access to the corner if I do that. So just make sure you keep your blade on the right angle. As you can see, my blade is pointing up in the direction of the hood. This will prevent me from missing some of the paint from underneath. You can wrap around more if you want to prevent that, but you don't really need to. Okay, so this is gonna be tricky to stay out of your way. So I'm gonna start my cut from here and come back this way. I don't know how well you can see it right now at this point, but I gotta get the job done too, nicely, so cool. I'm gonna come around the bottom of my corner because I don't wanna leave excess material. Excess material leads to bunching and bottle capping of your corner. Okay, so there we go. I can cut that off. That's all gonna get, so we heat, we cut, we heat. So there's always a final heating at the end. Let's move the camera back to this side right here. And just to finish this up. Zoom out a bit more. Cool. This side's a little bit easier to cut if you're right-handed. It's the other side that's a little trickier when you're right-handed. Okay. And with the PPF there, like the clear PPF there, I can feel it against the blade. It's really strange. So it kind of makes cutting a little bit trickier. Yeah, so they actually didn't PPF right around the corners. I can see it now. That's why I felt an edge there. Just the front ones they did. You don't really need to PPF right around these corners here. Okay, so let's trim this off now that we're there. Cool. Now we're going to get the camera back into the frontal position and show you the rest. Okay, so with the hood still in its place with the camera back in the front position, I'm just gonna trim off a bunch of this. We have way too much. On the front I don't have that much, but that's okay. I might as well just run this all the way through. Here we go. Finish down this side. Perfect. It's a lot of material, right? Okay. Just toss that over there. Perfect. Okay, so now when I put the hood down, the material won't really be touching the fenders too much. Let's roll the back around just a bit more first. I'm going to keep the hood just a bit higher. Will it be high enough on this? Yeah, it's actually good there. Okay. Just to keep it away from the fenders. Again, always a minimum of 3 passes. So we lead with the heat gun. We start from the top. Back again. As I go back again, I roll my finger down around a little bit more, and then I'm going to do a 3rd pass at least. Perfect. Okay, so the corner here, I'm going to take that, hit it with some heat, and push down on it just like that, like I did with the back corners. These corners are actually not that hard in the front because they're not as pointy. They're wide angle corners. Okay, so same thing here. Let's go here. Once we get all of our edges rolled around and everything else, then we're going to get into the post heating here, and I'll explain that and show how that goes, and basically what you're aiming for when it comes to post heating. This is just dust. I don't know where all this dust comes from all the time. Like it's coming off the buffer of my squeegee or my glove or something. I don't know, but because the surface is clean, so I just don't know where the dust comes from. But the dust doesn't cause a problem with the wrap. And same thing back here. Let's get that last bit done. Okay, and then now, once you have your edges rolled around, what we're going to do is we're going to cut. So let's get the hood back up. So as long as we're on camera there, yep, maybe I'll zoom in a bit more and get the camera a little bit higher. Okay, and then you'll be able to see how I do this cutting. Let's get in there and get us right in there. So the hood's all the way up. So remember, I have the bumps to deal with that are there with the clear PPF, so it's going to be a little tricky to keep this line clean. We're going to try though. Always going to try to do our best. With the hood all the way up, I'm going to come back with my cut this way. It's just awkward to go from the very bottom up. Cool. Let's go here now. Make sure your blade's fresh and sharp. PPF likes to resist, okay? So okay, I'm going to get ready to do a nice long pass or glide. Hopefully it goes smoothly as long as there's no bumps in the clear PPF that's already there. Then this will go really nicely. I didn't see any on the sides. And even up to this corner, it was pretty good. Good, okay. We're gonna go from corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner, and so forth. That just breaks it up and it prevents hesitation in the middle of your cut. I'm gonna run into some bumps here, I think. Yep, okay, so corner to corner. Let's take our time coming around this one. There we go. I keep tension pulling down and away with my left hand or my opposite hand, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed. That squeaking is just the PPF. Okay, corner to corner again. We're gonna go here to here. Now I'm gonna give a really, really thorough post heat to the edges afterwards because this is PPF over PPF. And again, it does not want to stick very well to the clear PPF. It's there. Once it settles over like a week or two, it'll be fine, but just initially. Okay, see how I'm taking my time with these passes, right? To the next corner. Okay. Same thing again, pulling the material tight first. So bump right there, there we go. To the next corner. And my material is wrapped underneath the edge for those of you who don't think it is, because you're underneath the hood right now, or I'm underneath the hood right now and I can see this blue. So when the hood goes back down, it's going to have all the coverage it needs. And if this fails for whatever reason, because I was putting too much faith in my ability, It's just the hood. It didn't take me that long to do this. Okay, pause there because I can't reach anymore, but we're low enough. The reason why I try not to pause in the middle of like longer lines is because it creates like a hesitation, and it's hard to match it and then get your line to like without having like a notch or something in the edge, like in your nice clean edge afterwards. Okay, so let's get this piece out of the way. Next step is we're going to go over this with heat. So we're going to go over it with heat while the hood is up. So obviously makes the most sense. And then we're going to hit the back section. We're going to get the back corners while the hood is up as well. But we're going to get the back section while the hood is maybe up too. We'll just do the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to start at the back. Let's get in here. I have to be careful because there are plastic trims here that can burn really easily. You can remove those if they come off easy enough. So we're going over with a light amount of heat first, and then the next bit of heat is a lot more aggressive. And if I can even heat from the back, I will. There we go. You want it pretty hot for a post heat, okay? Okay, let's go around here now. So lighter on the first pass, and then heavier on the second pass. First pass is just to get the edge back down. That's the first pass, and the second pass is to seal the edge up. Like, you want to sit it where you want it. I'm doing 3 passes. Even slower this time. Cool. So I'll pass from here to here now. A little lighter, a little faster, a little heavier now. Actually, like the PPF that's already there is not really affecting the appearance of my wrap. So, because I've cut ahead of it, not beyond it. So you can still see the wrinkles from the clear PPF. And it shows that it's not anything to do with me. Same thing here. Be extra thorough, guys. Like, there's no need to rush any of this stuff. What happens when you rush is that you end up having to redo it. So just taking an extra, what, like 2-3 minutes to go around with heat, it's 1000% worth it. I don't need the car to wrap itself. It's never going to happen. Maybe one day, but as it stands, it's not going to happen right now. So I need to trust my ability more than the film's ability. The film is only a piece of plastic. It's always much better to trust your own ability as opposed to a product. It's like a hammer. You can have a great hammer, but that won't stop you from hammering your thumb if you're not paying attention or you're rushing what you're doing. And a great hammer won't help you build a better house. Same thing back on this corner now. Let's get it underneath. Nice and warm, very nice and toasty. Okay, and a little bit on the top. Let's get in under here first, so this side. Let's get in here. Okay, so we've heated all the way around. Now we're going to heat the, I'll leave the box, why not, so the hood doesn't latch. We're going to heat the recessed parts here. So how do I know, let's get the camera down. How do I know how much to heat these areas? Well, first of all, it's mainly experience, but second of all, you can just take a digital thermometer. Now with PPF, you only really have to hit about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Vinyl, it's a bit hotter than that, like 180, 200 or so. So as long as I hit that, but again, I know just mainly from experience how hot this is gonna get. Based off of, like, you know, how I know my heat gun, how I can feel the temperature through the glove, and my experience from just using a digital thermometer already. And when you use a digital thermometer, you have to remember that when you're checking the temperature, to move the digital thermometer away, move the heat gun away when you're checking the temperature. Okay, so there's some bruising right there. We're just gonna go over that with some heat. Cool, that went away. Some dust, okay. Yeah, all that bruising is going away. That was just from playing around with the material a little bit in that section. There's no rush to get rid of the bruising, just heat the film up gradually. Oh, there's a bubble there. Let's see if that goes away. It's right there. It's gonna go away. Watch, see? There you go. Okay, so I'm confident that this is good right now. Let's go a little bit here. This is pretty shallow at the top. Gets a lot deeper down here though, okay? And I can feel it. I know the timing of my heat gun. I know the range of how close I am and so forth, okay? So same thing here, that was good. I could feel it getting pretty hot through the glove. Some bruising there and there as well. It's okay. It's all gonna go away like it did mostly over there. I can still heat that a little bit more probably. Oh, a little bit of air bubble right there too. Cool, that's gone. Sometimes they just show up when you add heat. That's getting pretty hot. You see how I'm going over it with my thumb? That's actually like helping the adhesive to sort of mush into the air channels that are there, which gives better bonding strength. It's not usually a great idea to get in here and start heating up the bruising unless you know for sure. Give the panel a wipe off first, because some of this could just be fingerprints, dry skin, whatever. Like, it looks white, so it's kind of difficult to tell if it's dry skin or fingerprints or whatever it could be. I mean, for me, I know, but not a bad idea just to give the panel a wipe off. Okay? So again, I'm not gonna do all this on camera because it's gonna take another 5 minutes or so, but it's already starting to go away, some of it. Let's get rid of a little bit more right there. There we go. Okay, so it's already starting to go away. So let's, actually I see lots of bruising right here. Let's notice it, different angles. Okay. And then I'll have to give the panel a wipe off anyway, so we'll do that. So again, there's all this dust on it. Let's give it a wipe off anyways. Let's grab the cloth. Just gonna use a bit of isopropyl for right now. It's not good to keep cleaning your wraps with isopropyl, but this will get off fingerprints initially. There's other stuff you can use. This is just what's handy for me right now. Yeah, I've got some smudges back there. There we go. These more wet. There we go. So yeah, we'll always wipe it off first. This way you know like what's a fingerprint and what's a bruise, or what's dry skin and what's a bruise, okay? So now whatever's left will mainly be like some bruising from, you know, slightly creasing the material. Again, which I showed how that heals in the Range Rover hood video, I believe it was. And guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, let's lift the hood up, but you probably already saw that the wrinkles, there's right here. So like they're not anything that's gonna show up on my wrap side. The film, it's not just peeling off, see that? It's not just gonna come right off the hood. So don't worry about that. As long as you go over it thoroughly with a nice post-heating, you will be fine. Guys, I hope the video was helpful, enjoyable. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from this. Don't forget to subscribe, like I said. This is, again, just another part of the series. I'm gonna try and get the fender wrap done next, or sometime today or tomorrow. And then they'll do the full walk around at the very end. Again, thank you for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.